If someday you should see Thomas the Tank Engine puffing happily along the line, he may be on his way to a village nestled deep in the heart of the island of Sodor. One November morning, Thomas whistled to all his friends. But then an early snowstorm came. The island was covered with thick snow. The engines found work difficult. Some had to help clear snow from the track, and workmen hacked away at the frozen banks of ice. Thomas and Percy were collecting important mail for Thanksgiving, said Thomas. Percy was feeling left out. But Percy's chance had come, said Thomas's driver. Percy was delighted, but Thomas was sad. Said Percy kindly. Sighed Thomas. Percy was making good time on his way to the village when suddenly, called his driver. There ahead was a fogman by the line. He was holding a red light. He shouted. Percy was soon steaming to Harold's airfield. Whistled Percy. Replied Harold. And he buzzed away. Sighed Percy. Suddenly there was Thomas with Terence the tractor and a works train. Whistled Thomas. The two engines battled their way through the snow. At last they reached the village. Harold was already there, busily dropping food for Thanksgiving dinner to the people below. Terence quickly got to work, he said as he pushed the snow aside. Cheered the villagers? Percy hurried back to fetch it. Just then Toby arrived with Henrietta. He whistled. That night, all the engines had gone back to the sheds except Toby. The villagers had made a plan to thank the engines. They loaded paint pots and parcels into Henrietta, and then they set off through the moonlit countryside. All the engines were fast asleep in the sheds as Toby ran silently into the yard. He had no idea what the villagers were going to do, but he knew it was going to be a big surprise. When the engines woke the next morning, they could not believe their eyes. The sheds had been repainted and decorated. The engines whistled in delight, and everyone agreed it was a really happy Thanksgiving.